So I was contemplating, because you know how in quantum physics, something is either a wave or a particle. So I was wondering, okay, but what determines whether something is a wave or a particle? And I got the answer, and what I received is that we have a choice essentially, but the higher level of consciousness that you have, and level, when I say level, that does not denote better or worse. Someone of a higher level of consciousness is not better than someone of a lower level of consciousness. The human mind tends to place a hierarchy when I say things like level or whatever, but it's not better or worse, it's just nature of where you are. So a higher level of consciousness would, David Hawkins outlined an entire scale of consciousness. The bottom of the scale, the lowest vibrating emotion is shame, and then guilt, and then you go all the way up into love and unity consciousness all the way at the top. So that being the scale of consciousness. So the higher you are on the scale of consciousness means that you have more free will and power over physicality, the physical realm. So let's say you're of a lower state of consciousness, you're kind of living in the guilt range or the fear range, whatever it is, you're going to have less free will and less ability to change things around you, to manipulate reality. Because why this is because, you know, when you're trying to manifest something and something is statistically less likely. I did this recently, actually. I'll make a different video on this, but I manifested something that was statistically less likely, but I ignored the statistics because that would have just put me in a place of explaining why, or just kind of accepting that it probably wouldn't happen. Like winning the lottery is a good example. It's like the statistics are, the probability is low when you look at the numbers. But if you are at a higher level of consciousness, you have more free will. And the reason for this is that when you're at a lower level of consciousness, you are going to default to the morphogenic field of the reality that you live in. So I don't know if you've heard about people that have drank poison, like drank cyanide, with full belief that it would not harm them, and it didn't harm them, right? So anything is possible. So drinking cyanide is possible without getting poisoned. Don't do this. I'm not saying that you should do this. I'm saying it is possible, in the realm of possibility, but everything is in the realm of possibility. So the reason why I bring up this example is that if you were to do something like this, drink something that is toxic, if your level of consciousness is lower, you would default to the morphogenic field of the general belief on cyanide, on what the toxin that you're drinking would do to you. And then you would have the effects of this toxin. But if you have a high level of consciousness, it's like whatever you believe is able to overpower any laws of physics or any internal structure that what you're drinking is meant to do, how it will interact with your body. It's like you can override it because your level of consciousness is higher. And part of the reason for this, I saw like a diagram in my head, and it was like the higher the level of consciousness, it went up like an inverted triangle, the tip at the bottom, and then it went up like that. So the higher the level of consciousness, your level of free will also went up at the same exact rate, like a parallel line. Level of consciousness and free will went up at the same rate. And then, so that blank space, I wish I had paper, but that blank space on the outside of the triangle, so if the triangle's like this, then this blank space On the outside of the triangle is the morphogenic field, is the field of this 3D world that we're living in on Earth. So the lower your consciousness is, let's say you're at the tip on the bottom, the more the field has an influence on you. And the higher you go in your level of consciousness, the more free will you have, and the less that morphogenic field has an effect on you. So I just wanted to share that because it was something I was contemplating for a while, like what determines whether something is a wave or particle. And I just, yeah, it came in really clear, and it kind of, it made sense with David Hawkins's scale of consciousness, which if you don't know what that is, I suggest looking it up. It's very fascinating. So, but it makes sense because if you are at a lower level of consciousness, it would make sense that you would not be given as high of a level of free will because if you've ever heard of how some spaceships work by, they can interact with your consciousness. And if you're of a low consciousness, you cannot operate the spaceship. So it's kind of like that. It's like you're given more reign over your reality when your consciousness is higher, because there's a moral obligation and there's a responsibility that comes with that. So you don't want to be having someone able to manipulate everything around them but be of a low level of consciousness, because chaos and destruction would come from that. And we do see dark forces on this earth that do how do I say, assert their negative desires upon the earth, but they are only doing that within the realm of free will, because people do give their power away without sometimes knowing it. So I just wanted to share that as an interesting download that I got. Yeah.